day YouTube. Charles here, and today I want to talk about a book I've been looking forward to because it's from one of the most intriguing franchises I've experienced in comics, and that is Night of the Cadillacs Origins Blood World City. This is number one. It is from Keenspot, Execution Posse Holdings, and the thing about these series of books, and it is a wide, expansive universe of stories within the Night of the Cadillacs universe, is the inconsistent quality throughout the different books, and even within certain series. For example, the first series I got into from the Night of the Cadillacs universe was called Kill Town, and it was focused on this Asian gang and how they got started coming up in this supernatural gangland story that is the Night of the Cadillacs universe. The first book was intriguing. I loved the art. The writing was solid. The second book, quite frankly, was dog shit. The art was mid. The writing was awful. It had misspellings, speech bubbles over the wrong characters. And number three was great. I enjoyed it. And I have read multiple series from Kill Town to Lipstick Clica, which was another one. Issue number one of Lipstick Clica was great. I love the art. Number two was boring. Nothing egregious stood out, but it just wasn't that appealing. I also got into the Stitches. I enjoyed the first couple of books, but to be honest with you, book number three is sitting in my on deck pile, and it has been for quite a while. I read Papa Duke, and that was a book I read number one. Didn't like it, but the thing that brings me back to this is the interesting premise. You know, an underworld gang story built around supernatural beings and gangs of them, like vampires and werewolves, and mixing that underground story with supernatural elements and the art. A lot of these different gangs are based on certain demographics. Kill Town, who are featured in this cover right here, is the Asian gang. So in those books, you had a lot of Asian aesthetic and art, and in Lipstick Clica, it was about a gang of vampiric cholas. And so you have a lot of, everything from the style of the vehicles to the culture. When you see the gang roll up there, you see them with a low rider truck and the low rider bikes, and then who else? We have the Chamberlains gang right here. Each gang has their own specific aesthetic, and the books have their own style based on that aesthetic. And the art in this book, going from the first panel that caught my eye here, where our main protagonist here kind of bursting out of nowhere in his 69 coupe, Steve, I think his name is, and he is our protagonist here. That was a brilliant shot. And other panels like this panel right here. Brilliant work. But throughout the book, the art is a bit scattered and inconsistent, but it's intriguing, and it draws the eye. And at least this book has a consistent story. There are no misspellings, no misprints, no typos, or anything like that. So the quality is definitely improved. And it's, the story is, it's a blood moon, and you're following this guy here, Steve, who apparently is kind of a turncoat in Papa Duke's gang. He's kind of rebelled against them, and he's going to try to save this girl Hope. And we'll find out that Hope's mother disappeared during the last blood moon, and Steve has some kind of connection to that. And so we leave it there where those two, where Steve ends up saving her life and starting to explain what is going on, and he has some kind of connection to her mother, and it stops there. And I think this comic did a few good things. It started off visually strong. Once we established the art and the tone, it had a simple story to follow, and they left you wanting more. The downside is I feel like they tried to do too much of everything with the art. You go page to page, and it's like a fever dream. And while the story narrative is clear, the art narrative is far from. But what it did do is it definitely sold me on this series. And I am definitely going to be getting Night of the Cadillacs Origins Blood World City #2, because they did a good job of creating characters and a story that I want to see come to fruition. So that's my thought on the book. If you like it, if it sounds to me be interested in, check it out. The local comic store. It's an independent comic, and I always, want to show support and love to the independent comics, because, we're gonna get stuff. It's a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more risky, and not so cookie cutter. And I think that is where art flourishes, where you take the necessity of having to make money off of everything out of the equation. And then part of the appeal of this series as well is it's kind of like gambling. I don't know what I'm going to get quality-wise, but I will say one thing, even about the worst book from this series of books, is it's always interesting, even if not necessarily good. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep reading them books. I'm out.